Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I have a very interesting story to tell you about something that kind of happened to me. Well, it didn't just kind of happen, did happen to me this week just gone, which was a really interesting experience that I had. So I've done this a few different times. It's all around eye gazing actually. So a little bit out there, a little bit interesting, and I'd love to hear from you guys. Have you had an experience with eye gazing? Do you even know what the hell I'm talking about when I mention eye gazing? And basically, if you didn't really know much about it, I'm going to explain through some of my experiences what that is kind of all about, and also why we want to look at it from a very scientific level, not just, like a spiritual connection of souls and all of those beautiful things that can be part of it, but actually looking at the science behind our communication. And what I really am focused on with today's message is the unmanipulatable kind of truths that we communicate, and I'm going to unpack what that means and how we can actually walk around this world actually communicating in alignment with our truth, and also being able to recognize other people's truths and simultaneously what they're trying to hide. All right, because what I'm going to share with you guys today is a really interesting way of getting beyond just the words of our communication and actually understanding at a very deep level what's truly going on for somebody, right? Being able to hear beyond what's not being spoken. All right, so this is going to be a very interesting one for you guys today. And like I said, I'd love for you guys to always be playing along at home. Drop me some comments. Let me know where it is that you are in the world and your experience with what we're going to be talking about today, or any insights that you have. I absolutely love when you guys co-create this space with me and we make it, not just me talking to you, but actually like we're having a conversation. All right. So, no perspectives are ever wrong. The whole idea of these conversations is to expand our minds, right? To work out what we're believing and what others might be believing or seeing the world through a different lens, and how we can utilize that to expand our own awareness and get to deeper truths within ourselves and within our environment. All right, so today's message is one in which I really, really hope you get as much value from it as I have had in my own life. And of course, I'm going to unpack a story and a couple of different experiences that I've had with this, both in person and also online for the first time, which is what happened this week. So today's message is all about the left eye holding your unmanipulatable. I made that word up, by the way, but I hope you guys can understand what I mean by that. Intimate truth, all right? So in other words, there is no running away from your left eye, right? You can't escape your left eye. It is always telling the truth, okay? And so let me unpack what I'm talking about with this. Let me start with explaining why we even want to look at this, and also let me unpack it with some story. So why do we want to know about the left eye telling the truth, right? Basically, a number of you guys might have already heard this before. So I'd love to hear from you if you haven't, or if you had, whatever. But basically, communication oftentimes is we just think communication is what we say, right? The words that we speak, that's what we're communicating. But basically, you may have heard that there is a breakdown of this. Basically, it's called the 7-38-55 communication rule, for all of you guys who want to geek out on it and go, do some more research. But basically what that means is only 7% of communication is verbal, like through words, right? Is expressed and received through words. Only 7% of communication, right? Then 38% is done in our tone of voice, right? The pitch of the voice, the cadence, the stop, the start, the pauses, right? There's a lot in that. And then finally, 55% of our communication is actually through body language, right? Like it's not even verbal whatsoever, okay? And so that's what I want to start with, just having that in mind. Only 7% of our communication is through the words that we speak, 38% through tone and how we're delivering that message or those words, and then 55% comes down to body language. And now I'm going to get real granular on you guys. So what we want to look at, and why I want to talk about this left eye versus the right eye, is basically I want to break it down into the brain hemispheres. So as you guys are probably aware, you know that the left hemisphere of the brain controls the right side of our body, and the right hemisphere of our brain controls the left side of our body. Okay? And why that's important is because if we know that the left side of our brain is actually more analytical, right? It's all about the logic. It's all about being premeditated, right? And thinking about things cognitively in that regard. And then the right side of the brain is where it's more fluid, it's more creative, it's more about our emotional expression. And we know that the left hemisphere controls the right eye and the right hemisphere controls the left eye. What that really means is that the left eye is really telling the truth in terms of what we're experiencing on an emotional level and even down to our character. That we can't premeditate. Like the left eye is truly the expression of who we are. A lot of people would call it the gateway to the soul, right? The left eye. And basically what our right eye does is it is the mask wearer. It is the one that has premeditated an identity that it wishes the world to see, right? It wants to show the world this particular identity that it is wearing as a mask. Okay, so if we were to know this about ourselves, what we can do is when we communicate or connect with others, if we're focused on the left eye, we're actually getting the truth of who they are and what's going on for them, versus focusing on the right side of the face, right? The right eye, which is more the mask wearing, premeditated, hey, this is what I want to show you. Okay, now let me take it down to some experiences, okay? Because I had a really amazing experience this week. I'm currently studying for the Masters of my NLP practitioner course, right? And basically it's like every week we're connecting twice a week for a couple of hour blocks, and we're practicing all these different techniques and things with one another. And this week what we did was we actually did an eye gazing exercise for which basically we were on Zoom, right? We weren't in person. I've done this in person a few times before, but basically we did this on Zoom. And what happened was, and you might want to try this with people that you care about, but you know, randomly put in a Zoom room with one other stranger. And basically we took it in turns of staring directly into the camera, right? And so it'd be me just staring into the camera for 2 straight minutes, right? Just staring into the camera. I think I'm looking right at where the camera is right now, right? And for 2 whole minutes, that other person, this stranger, had to watch me and had to analyze me and just had to be present, like full 100% presence with me, right? Staring into my eyes. Now, I couldn't actually see them because it was on a Zoom call. So it was a lot less intimate than when you do this person to person, right? In the flesh, I mean. And so basically though, after that 2 minutes of me solidly staring into the camera, and that other person, that other stranger staring back at me and really taking me in, right? Being fully present with me, then they then proceeded to spend the next 2 minutes of just articulating to me what they felt, what they experienced of me. And it was so interesting, right? And then of course I did it for them. And so staring right at them, really being fully present with them for another full 2 minutes, right? And then expressing what I saw. Now, mind you, these people, I did it with a couple of different people, and basically they were strangers, right? They didn't know me and I didn't know them. And this was the first time we met, and we didn't speak to each other. We just were present with one another, and then shared what we felt and what we experienced within our presence of them. And basically, it was so mind-blowing, right? For like when I could see within them all of these pieces of them that they didn't even feel seen by the people closest to them in their life, right? I was able to reflect what I saw within them, you know, the depth within them, the heart within them, the walls that they put up in front of them, right? And be able to express all of this to them. And just so like weirdly, right? And then them do that for me as well, right? And them, not know who I was. Basically, I had reflected the same stuff by two different strangers. And basically what they were saying to me was the same thing. They could see my confidence. They could see a pure heart. They could see that I was on a mission to do good in the world. All these weird things, right? Like they didn't know me, and to be able to reflect that back to me, two strangers, no verbal communication, literal just presence, full presence for 2 straight minutes, staring into my eyes as I stared directly into the camera, right? And basically this really sets on fire, what we're actually expressing, because we think we're walking around this world with this premeditated mask and identity and how we have structured ourselves to receive acceptance and approval and love and connection from our external world. But what we don't realize is how much of us is actually open and not masked, and actually the gateway to true intimate truth within us that we can't avoid, we cannot manipulate, and we cannot run away from. But most people don't know to read that, right? And so this gift that I want to give to you guys is this ability to realize that in the left eye, if we really get present, and I might be flipped to you guys, so my left eye is actually here. It might look like it's my right eye, right? But the left eye is actually this gateway to another person's soul. If you can truly be present with another, then you get this beautiful access to the truth of who they are. If you look at the right eye, and particularly if there's a major difference between the eyes, what you're going to notice is this is the mask, right? The right eye is the mask, who they want you to see them as. And the left eye is just the truth of who they are, right? And that's what you want. And there have been different studies, different people do this, right? And they go and they look at different pictures. So I've heard of people going and looking at a picture of Hitler, for instance, and looking at his eyes, and what they report as noticing is that the left eye looks really droopy and the right eye is super alert, right? And really fixated. And basically the bigger the difference that you can witness between the eyes is basically, what is it? It's a person being out of alignment with the truth of who they are. They've got such a difference in the mask that they want to show up to the world in from the truth of actually who they are, and maybe that's because they're so disconnected from their self, right? They're so over-reliant on the left hemisphere of the brain, the logic, the rationale, the premeditated mask for survival, that they're so disconnected from the right hemisphere of the brain, which is reflected in the left eye, which is the emotional expression, the truth, the creativity, the flow of who they actually are. And so you're going to notice, if you really want to be able to communicate and get to real truths within yourself and within others and connect at a really intimate level, you're going to want to be able to look at the differences of what's being portrayed in different people's eyes as well. I think it's a really fascinating way of being able to create real intimate depth and really see unspoken truths. Even if people don't want you to see them, you can be enlightened by who people are and how they're showing up. Now, a caveat to this is that I actually decided I wanted to share this experience with somebody who knew me, who was closer to me, right? And I went through this experience again on Zoom, so it's much different. If you can do this in person, it's a whole different intimate experience, right? But just, in times of COVID, a lot of us have a lot more connection going on Zoom or online in some way, and so basically my experience with this person though, they hadn't done it in this particular way, and they actually weren't able to really express back to me the level of depth that the strangers had been able to do. And one thing that I'm playing around with the idea around this is there's you have to be aware of your preconceived ideas about a person that you've had in your life for a while, right? We can get really complacent with seeing the depth and the mystery in somebody else, and basically we can just project like we know this person, or there's nothing to be seen within this person because we've already categorized them, we've already put them in a box. That's what the human brain likes to be efficient, right? It doesn't want to waste more energy than is required. So it loves categorizing people. It loves putting people in a box and not having to open that box or look at that again, right? So be really conscious if you try this process out with the people that are close to you, that you may have had in your life for a little while. They're not strangers, right? Be very conscious of your preconceived ideas and open yourself up to the curiosity, the mystery, and using that left eye as a window to the soul, right? There's so much beauty in this. And also, second to that, be mindful of your projections. Oftentimes, we're looking at people in our lives as a mirror. If we are not in alignment with who we are, if we're not openly acknowledging, honoring, and accepting our true emotions and what's going on for us, we oftentimes can, go through a process like this and we're just projecting our stuff onto them, right? We might see fear where there is none. We might see sadness where there is none. We might see all sorts of different things that aren't actually there and is actually a projection. So here's how you will know if you're really seeing into another. Is when you express and share what you witnessed in the other, they're either going to deeply resonate with that, or they're going to not feel anything from what you've said, right? And there's caveats to that as well. That's not all that black and white, but basically that's a really good indicator as to the level of depth you've been able to be present with and witness within another. Okay, so I've shared so much with you guys today. I hope that how I express that is of value to you. I hope you understood what I was getting to. And if you did want to give this a go, I would invite you to pick a person. Could be a stranger, right? I think it's actually been almost easier to do it with a stranger because we don't have any preconceived ideas. We haven't currently put them in a box. But even if you're doing it with somebody close to you, maybe an intimate partner, maybe a family member, maybe a close friend or whoever, just be wary of not projecting and also not putting them in a box. Come in with a mindset of mystery, curiosity, wanting to see into the depths of who that person is and what's truly going on for them through that left eye, right? Connection. And go through it 2 minutes where one of you, person A is looking into the eyes of person B for 2 minutes, and then person A reflects for another 2 minutes what they saw and what they perceived in person B. And then you flip, and then person B spends that 2 minutes, directly being present, full presence, eye contact with the person A, and then spending another 2 minutes reflecting what they perceived and what they connected with through that process. And it's a really good way of putting yourself into a practical position to experience the truth of the fact that only 7% of our communication comes down to the words that we say, and 38% is in the tonality of that voice, but 55% of all communication is actually picked up through our body language. all right? And when you really want to get to the truth and really connect through truth, you definitely want to know the differences between the left eye and the right eye being directed by the left and right hemispheres of the brain and what that actually means, with everything that I've articulated for you guys today. And of course, I'd love to hear from you guys if you take that on board and you go and experience this. I'd love to hear your results from that. All right, so let me check in with you guys. Have you got any questions or comments or words of wisdom or anything that you'd love to share and contribute to the conversation today? I'd love to hear from you guys. So let me check in. I have got Craig in the house, and Frank, and Josie, and Shet, and Coco, and Jay Castillo. Thank you for your kind words, my friend. And Craig, thank you so much for those kind words there, Craig. Great to have you. And Hanny is here as well, and Bill. Calling you Billy today. And Lewis is here as well, and Vince and Kanzo. Hello to you, and Bill, much love to you, my friend. And Kanzo is from Nepal. That's so awesome to have you back. And I'm doing well. And Shalandra is here, and Rangarudi, and Tadashi, and Craig. Thank you for your kind words again there. And Jerry's back, awesome. And Richard and Nina, and always grateful to have you here, Jerry. Thanks so much for being here. And Debbie's here as well, and Dependra, and Marie, awesome. And Shanice, and Joshua, and Chrysaira. I don't know, I butchered your name, but I love having you here. And Melissa's here as well, and Orijan, and Bill, right back at you. Love the presence. And Orijan, hello to you, and Elizabeth, and Bajnath, and Erin, and Tabitha, awesome, and Randy, and Amy, awesome to see all of you guys. And Tabitha, thank you so much for your kind words there. And Craig, I always see a great wisdom in your beautiful eyes, and it's a wisdom that you always want to share with the world. Thank you so much, Craig. I appreciate your kind words there, my friend. And Jerry, which eye is best for a blink? And love eyes, contact, direct inner feelings, and connection. I do this regularly at work with random people. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Yeah, definitely. You know, it's so powerful when you start to understand how we communicate at deeper and deeper levels, right? Because at the end of the day, every human being craves connection, right? We all want to be seen for the truth of who we are, and we want to see others for the truth of who they are, right? And to just use this little tool to start going around, like start today, and just go around and start communicating, looking people in their left eye. Like start really taking them in. Even go into the mirror and look at yourself and look at the difference that you can see, right? If you really want to connect in with your emotions, what you're truly experiencing, look at yourself in the mirror into your left eye and see what you see within yourself. And then maybe look at your right eye and see what you're trying to mask, right? It's so interesting. It's such a good process to connect in with yourself and also with any other human being, right? So that's beautiful. And I love that you do that, Jerry. And Ramgalam, I think I got it right. Good morning to you. And Bill, now I can read minds and eyes. Thanks for the wisdom. I never heard that before. Awesome. I'm happy to be able to impart some wisdom your direction, Bill. I love it. Awesome. And Jessica's here as well, and Diane, and Tatenda, and Joseph, and Paul, and Craig. I wear glasses. Does that mean that I would be harder to read because of the fact that people have to look through the lenses of my eye? Yeah, great question, because actually one of the people that I went through this process with this past week, he was wearing glasses, right? Big glasses, like they had a bit of a reflection going on. I was still able to see directly into his eyes, and actually it gave me a little bit of an insight, how people present themselves and so forth also gives you an insight. And part of what I reflected back to him was that he had such love and heart within him, like a real softness within him, but he leads in the external world, with this kind of cognitive intelligence, kind of like a wall, right? And part of that was connected to he didn't want to take off his glasses to go through a process like this, right? It's interesting. The level of comfortability that you have with being intimate with somebody in this way, right? Being able to allow them to truly see you and to be able to truly see another is basically a reflection of how connected and intimate the relationship is that you have within yourself. Right? Like I mentioned before, when there's a vast difference maybe in the size or the dialect of the eyes, you'll see that there's quite a difference between the truth of who somebody is and the mask that they're wearing and how they want to be perceived by the world, right? And so it's very interesting to look at it that way. So great question. And I think that, I'd take your glasses off if you want somebody to see into you at a deeper degree, but it doesn't fully take it away. And if you need your glasses on to see within them, keep them on. I love it, Craig. And AJ's here as well, and Nick and JR and James and Carlos and Abdul. Awesome to see all of you guys. And Craig, this can be a useful tool for being able to know who you should and shouldn't have in your life. Yeah, absolutely. Because remember this, we're all human beings. We all have fears and insecurities. We all have masks of different varieties. So just connect with somebody's humanness. Just because they have a mask and you can see it, right? Because you get really skilled at being able to see the differences. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily somebody that you don't want in your life. They most likely aren't even aware of this consciously, right? And that's why we love the left eye, because we can't mask it, right? We can mask all the way home till the end of the world, right? In our right eye, we can be very premeditated, but it could be very unconscious to the person. And so what we want to do with this information, if we do see that they aren't, they are quite masked and how they're showing up isn't in alignment with what you're really seeing deep within them, it could just be an opening to a conversation, or like expressing, hey, I'm really seeing this within you. Is that true for you? Does that resonate with you, right? And you're opening the doors for deeper connection. So it's not just about us walking around and thinking we know people better than they can express to us. It's a gateway towards deeper intimacy and connection, and to open up the pathway, right? To be able to have a deeper insight into somebody, and then be able to reflect that, and then see if they resonate with that and are willing to go on an intimate, deeper connection with you, right? In that way. And then you might decide, hey, this person just cannot, they're so out of alignment and they're so unwilling to see that or communicate or grow. Probably don't want that person in my life, right? So it could get to that point. So you can use it as you wish, but I just say definitely make sure that you don't lose connection with our humanness and open the gateways towards real compassion in terms of how people are wearing masks that they either consciously are wearing or they don't even know they're wearing. And so you might give them a great insight, a very empowering insight into who they are, and that might deepen your connection with them as well. So love that, Craig. And JR, thank you, Vanessa. Learned a lot watching from the Philippines. God bless Australia. I love that, JR. Always great to have you, my friend. Grateful that this was of value to you, and much love coming back to you in the Philippines. That's so cool. And James, this is a clever technique. Yeah, I thought so too. Loving that it's resonating with you. And Ned's here, and Diksha. And Craig, thank you so much for yet more of your beautiful, amazing inspiration. I'm super grateful that this is of value to you, Craig. Thanks so much for letting me know. And Binay is here. And James, what if you can see auras of people? Yeah, I think that that's a beautiful thing as well. And it's not, I think I've had a couple of little experiences with that, but I don't have enough knowledge to know more about whether I am I haven't developed that muscle. Let's just put it that way. I have kind of to a little bit. And what I oftentimes get people reflecting things about my aura to me, and it's really beautiful. And you know what, like, when people reflect things to you, right? Say somebody does this process with you and they reflect something to you, just take it on board with curiosity. Doesn't mean it's the ultimate truth, but there could be something in what another person can see within you that could really help you be more confident within yourself. So one of the ones that was really surprising for me was that I oftentimes have had this preconceived, unquestioned notion within myself based on my past experiences that I need to really focus on self-belief, right? I can be very doubting of myself, critical of myself, and I can lack self-belief, right? This is a story I'd been telling myself. And through going through these processes with all these different strangers and having them reflect, not being able to know what other people have said to me or anything, and say how much confidence I oozed, right? Self-assurance I oozed, and all these beautiful things. It was really enlightening. It was just very good to be a wake-up call from me putting myself in a box that was left unchecked to go, you know what? I actually am very self-believing, right? I actually do back myself a lot. I do have quite a lot of self-confidence. But, when we're in the picture, we don't always get to see the frame, right? We don't get to see what's actually going on. So it's really powerful to have people in your life who are on a growth journey, who you can trust, that can give you those sort of reflections, and that might come in the ability to read auras, like you're suggesting there, James. So awesome. And Gord, hello all. I'm just kind of new, but I like your crystal on your necklace. Oh, thank you. This is moonstone. Yeah, I love it. So thank you, Gord, and great to have you join us. Hope to see you come back again. And Dennis, you are always welcome. Grateful that this was great for you. And Carlos, I love your energy, Vanessa, since we met the first time 1 year ago in LA. Wow. Oh my gosh. I can't believe that was an entire year ago. It was great to meet you, Carlos, and thank you so much for those kind words, and great to have you live. And Iro is here, and Gord, I'm learning about many things and interested in what you're talking about. That's awesome, Gord. For those of you who do want to keep learning about amazing tools and amazing ways to grow in self-awareness, ability to transform, and actually contribute and connect with others, then I do invite you to join us in the Limitless Potential Academy. Every month you get a new masterclass. Every month we get on a Zoom call. I get to support you and connect with you and help you to break through and grow. And you do that with a beautiful community, and we're global, right? We've got people all the way across Europe, across the States, in Australia, you name it, we've got them. So if you are interested in that, definitely drop me a comment or shoot me a message, and send me a message on my email, because Messenger, I can oftentimes miss your stuff in Messenger. So if you would like to learn more or want to connect, then you can reach out to me at vanessajanepatrick.com. I know it's long, but that's where you can get me. So I love that, Gord. And Charles is here as well, and Theodore. And Gord, you're from Canada. Awesome. I love Canada. Such a beautiful part of the world. And Maria's here, and Lilybeth, and John, and Nads, and Craig. You have a glowing angelic aura. Thank you. I appreciate that. And Joshua is here, and Clody, and Simon. No boxes. The bird can't spread its wings and soar when it's caged. So beautifully and wisely put, my friend. Get out of the boxes. Have that curiosity. Have that wanting mystery, expecting something that you didn't previously know to come out. Even within our presence with people that we may think that we know inside out. Just believe me, you don't. You don't know your own self fully inside out, right? You're always discovering more about yourself. You can't ever expect to know somebody else inside out, right? There's always something to learn and be enlightened by. So love that, Simon. Good to have you. as usual. And Joshua is from Ohio. Good to have you, my friend. And Craig, like when you watched the controversial movie a few weeks ago, you backed yourself in regards to that. Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. I'm always doing that because, it's like what one of my favorite people to learn from always says. His name is Ken Wilber. And basically what he says is that everybody's truth is true, right? But it's just partial. It's not the whole truth. And if we come at life with just our little blinds on, our little paradigm of the world, our own lenses, right? We're only seeing a small snippet of what is available to us and what is actually true. And if we make ours right and how other people view things wrong, what we're really doing is wasting a hell of a lot of energy, segregating ourselves from a deeper, more encompassing truth. Right? So if we realize that everybody's truth is their truth, it's true, but it's only partial, what we can do is we can be more curious and connecting, right? We can come into the world, we can openly share different perspectives, not in a way that's going to threaten others or their versions threaten us, but in a more expansive and inclusive way so that we can get to higher and greater truths based on coming together with energies rather than trying to make a right and a wrong and wasting a hell of a lot of energy, which is, you can see it across the globe, right? That's just what happens. So I love that. Thank you, Craig. And Alyssa is here. Hello, beautiful bright light. I'm from Indiana, USA. Oh, I'm so grateful to have you. And I hope today's message has served you. And thank you for those kind words. I love that. And hugs coming right back to you. Thanks, Alicia. And Raul is here as well. And Bagyaraj. Good to have you as well. So that is my message for you guys today. If this has been of value, I would love for you guys to share this message wherever you know there are people that would be benefiting from this. And life is about connection, right? And we have to be able to have an intimate depth of connection to our own truth within. And we have to want to share that with others. And we have to want to see their own intimate depth and truth within them as well, right? That's where all the juiciness, the fulfillment, the depth of connection that we all yearn for, it's all there. It's all available to us. And this is just one simple tool to help you unlock a deeper, intimate truth and connection within yourself and within anybody, strangers, people close to you, whatever. It's all valuable and we're all here to connect. So might as well give it a go. Start looking people in the left eye and start really being present and noticing what you see. Start hearing the unspoken truths, okay? That's what this is all about. And remember, you can't run away from your left eye. It's always giving out the truth of who you are, okay? So just know that and let it remind you to align to a deeper truth within you and stop letting, your cognitive, logical side of the brain, create a premeditated mask to show up in the world. No, that's always going to be driven by fear and insecurity. And you're not going to be fulfilled in this world unless you're showing up as the absolute truth of who you are and knowing who that is and aligning with that. So your fulfillment depends on you removing the masks. You got to be aware of it before you can transform it, before you can really connect authentically. And that brings me to the message that I want to instill and impart within you, each and every one of you guys, every single time we connect, which is to go out there and live authentically, love deeply, and contribute meaningfully and purposefully. And I want to just thank each and every one of you guys for joining live today, for contributing to the conversation. You are so appreciated. I love co-creating this space for you. And I can see Michelle and Leanne have just joined. So I hope you guys who are just joining now catch the recording, get a ton of value from today's message, and please do share it if it is of value. And I cannot wait to see you guys very, very soon. Much love.